Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast with your two favourite brothers. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And today we've got a special guest,
Come
Ash.
on.
My name's Ash, aka Ash the Can Man.
Yeah, so okay, before we get into this here, because that's a question I want to ask. We're starting a new thing where we ask our guests, what do you think of when you think of family? And so,
When I think of family, I just think of, my family are everything to me. Where I started in life, I had my family, and I didn't really start from a good place. And my family were just there for me from the start. They helped me when I battled through depression. They helped me when I battled through anxiety. They helped me when, I lost all my money maybe like 10 years ago and I didn't have anything. So when I think about family, I think about whatever I do in life, I'm going to bring them with me. I work for my family. I'm not with my family. I work for them. So when I think of family, I just think about, these people are my everything. Because when I had nothing, they were there. And I tell people all the time, when you have family, never ever give up on them. Family come first. Regardless of what happens in your family, family comes first. So that's my answer.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I rate that.
Look at this smile.
Yeah, I rate that. I fully rate that.
Yeah, that's good. So, why do they call you Ash the Can Man?
Do you want the truth or do you want the censored answer?
we want the truth.
We want the
still.
truth,
we
yeah.
want the truth still.
Okay, so the truth is, the name Ash the Can Man first came out because I used to be this guy that when I used to be in nightclubs with everyone, like all your boys are drinking like brandy and coconut. I used to be like the guy, I used to be like, oh, can I have a can of Heineken?
Oh, mad.
Yeah, can I have a can of Budweiser? And people are like, this guy's mad. He's in like some proper like luxurious rave here and he's sitting there drinking Heineken. So then someone was like, oh, Ash the Can Man. I was like, I kind of like that. And then fast forwarding on, obviously, like I just mentioned, I had my struggles with depression, anxiety. My life was in a really bad place. And that's when I said, what, I'm no longer Ashley, I'm going to be Ash the Can Man, because whatever I go through, I can get through this. This is
mad.
a stage in my life and I can get through it. And that's where the name really, really sort of stuck with me.
So you repurposed the name.
I rebranded it.
Yeah.
The actual true story, I don't know if you want me to say it on the podcast, but the actual true story is when I was about 16, I got involved with, did you ever, you're from like South London.
South London, yeah.
Do you know the Streatham Hill Ice Rink?
Yeah.
Streatham Common Ice Rink.
Yeah,
They used to have Funky Fridays on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I left there once, and there was this group of guys, and I was going to the Morley's across the road just to get a drink. And the guy came in my face, he's like, what are you saying? And I was like, I knew this guy wasn't about it. So I was like, you're in a group of 10 guys, you're thinking you're bad. Just relax yourself. Anyway, so got my drink, went back to the bus stop. He came back over the road now, and he was like mouthing off to me. All these friends started surrounding me. One of them punched me, one of them kicked me. I'm just fast forwarding the story. And I had a can of Tango in my hand, which was unopened. And I threw it at one of them. And it knocked one of them out cold.
Oh, mad.
So then the name, my cousin was like, no, man, you're Ash the Can Man. I haven't seen a can thrown with such power. So there's like 3 reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
And these are all true stories, bro.
So it's all destined.
These are all true stories.
That is a
All aligned,
powerful name then.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No worries. So, what could you tell me about, obviously, your experiences growing up?
My experiences growing up, I grew up with, similar to most, most people like myself, most people who look like me from London, most young black guys, we grew up without a dad. That was just the norm, man. I grew up in Brixton, London, grew up with just my mum, my bigger brother and my sister, basically, and my parents, because my mum had to work during the day.
Of course.
Sorry, studying during the day, and then used to work night shifts in Asda when I was real young.
Okay.
So, like, we had to make ends meet, man.
Yeah.
So I was raised by my brother and my sister. They tried their best, but you got to think like they're only 7 and maybe 13 years older than me. So it's like kids raising kids. But man, they done one hell of a job because I was safe, I was fed, I was watered, I was good. But childhood for me, man, it was tough. I went from being like this real popular kid in primary school, joined just my secondary school. My first year, I don't know, I guess I was like somewhat picked on. I was somewhat bullied in my first year of secondary school. And I didn't really expect it because I came from being this popular guy and I was like, why am I letting these people take the piss out of me? So eventually I got expelled from that school, moved into my second school. And that's when I learned boxing. That's when I started putting on muscle. That's when I said, I don't care who you are in life, I'm not taking shit from anyone. And I'm that person now that, because I went through that, I will stick up for anyone who is vulnerable. When you see kids being picked on, babies, young women, older women, people with disabilities, people with autism, and people taking advantage of that. I'm the first one to put myself forward. I don't care if someone is probably even armed. I know it's stupid, but I feel like it's my duty to defend people who are vulnerable. So my childhood was tough, man. Moving on for a few years, struggled with depression, struggled with anxiety. That came from a list of reasons, really. And then overcame that, and then I turned into Ash the Can Man, and then from there it's been good, man. But I'm Ash the Can Man now, but I will never forget who Ashley was. Yeah. And I lived a challenging life, let's just say, but it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what would you say the most valuable lesson of having such extreme highs and lows was for you?
It's tough, man, because I've got a few friends who are professional boxers, not to go off topic, and they say the most hard thing about boxing is you walk out in a crowd of people, you've got 30,000 people that cheering your name, to going back to a hotel room, it's just you on your own. Okay. Those highs and lows aren't healthy, man. So I think the highs and lows of my life probably added to my depression, because when I had highs, I had highs, man. I could party. When I used to drink, man, I could drink. I'll drink till I'm hungover for 4 days. Like,
I'm mad.
I'm dead. But then, like, the lows were real low, man. I'd want to stay in my bed. I'd turn my phone off. I was basically dead to the world. I existed. I was breathing, but I was in my room, just disconnected, as you said.
I'm mad.
That's mad. So you said that your dad left. What, if anything, do you remember about him?
Nothing. He left my amazing mother. I hope you're watching this. He left her when she was 6 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and obviously I was born. He left and was making another life with another woman. And then, my mum might see him in passing. I think she tried her best to, every dad has a right to be involved in a child's life, regardless of the madness he's done. Yeah. You're the dad, so you have the right. So she always stuck by that, and, I adopt the same beliefs. But then she used to say, look, this is your son. Like, he's walking, talking. He's, he's doing this. He's doing well in nursery. Do you care? And he's just ignore me. Apparently, he's just like looked straight through me. Didn't even look at me in the pushchair. Had no interest in me whatsoever. And I guess that sort of made me grow up with I didn't really acknowledge it at first, but it made me grow up with anger. Because I was like, how can this person not want me? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be a prick to everyone because I had hurt in me. Man, in school, I got expelled so many times from different schools. People are like, he has ADHD, he can't behave well, he's got this. I don't think I had any of that, man. I just think it was just...
Displaced anger.
My childhood was just... Other than my mum, my brother, and my sister, it was pretty shit, to be honest.
Do you think that, like, the chip on your shoulder was more directed at men or just anyone in general?
That's actually a really good point. I've never really thought about that, but as you've said that, the answers kind of clicked for me. I've always had, I guess, a softer spot for women. I won't speak to women in a certain way. I won't raise my voice at women. I'm always there to defend women. I think that stems from the fact that my mum was my everything when I grew up. So the love I have for women is just different. I just see women as precious, man. Women are amazing creatures. Like, I know people probably get triggered by that, but women are amazing, man. And don't let, I'm not even going to go into it. Yeah.
It's true, because I find that when we were growing up, a lot of our big cousins and stuff were female.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that informs our view on women. Like, I get very pressed when I see like men abusing women or spreading narratives that sort of take away from what a woman could bring to a relationship and stuff. It's partly the reason why I do a lot of the content that I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like there needs to be a respect when we talk about relationships and men and women.
Exactly.
And if you disrespect women, then obviously as a reaction, they're going to disrespect you.
Exactly.
And so, it is interesting.
It's crazy because I didn't think I had that bias. And then it was actually my cousin who picked it up, because we used to work together, and I work in social care. I work as a social worker. So we used to do like telephone calls. And she always used to be like, you're so much more nicer to the women. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, nah, come on, man. What are you talking about? I'm the same to everyone. And she was like, nah. She was like, check it. She was like, next time you're on the... Just be aware of things. And I realized, I was like, yeah, it is like that. Do you think you're like that as well?
Yeah. I have to be careful, because I feel like sometimes like it infantilizes women.
Yeah.
Like, oh yes, let me take care of you. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they are autonomous beings in their own right.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't want you to help them, or they want to be able to prove their own worth.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of the women that I know, I can only speak on that.
Yeah.
So I think But generally speaking, yeah, I'm a lot more harsh with guys. You know, partly because I have like this internal bias that makes me feel like, oh, they can take it. You know?
Yeah, because we scrap.
True.
That's like, obviously, as you said, we all grew up in and around South London, yeah. That majority of the people, yeah, that I had a problem with, yeah, we had a fight and then everything was solved.
True.
Generally, innit? Like,
Yeah.
if me and the female have differences, I can't resort to scrapping.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, it's
gotta
not
talk it
within
out,
me.
innit?
Yeah. We have to talk it out or something. So it allows me to understand, yeah, that if I'm gonna get angry or violent, it's not gonna solve the situation. Whereas with guys, it always does.
Yeah,
If
most
that makes
of the
sense.
time.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very true, actually.
Yeah. Do you feel like he had to grow quicker, like in order to protect your mum? Because I've spoken to a lot of guys who, obviously, where their dad weren't in the picture, and they feel like they wanted to grow more quickly in order to be like a protector, to make sure that their mum didn't get hurt again. So
Yeah, definitely. But fortunately for me, when I was about 7, I've got a stepdad who I call my dad because he does literally everything for me. Like, he's a remarkable man of like, he's just like a testament of what a man should be.
Right.
So I had to grow up in a way, but I knew that he had her back regardless. But I definitely think that, you know, just growing up with my mum for the initial 7 years, I'm so overprotective, man. Like, she works in Brixton and like, you know what Brixton's like, man.
Yeah.
You know, like some of the yardies can get a bit rude and
Yeah.
and kind of things. And I tell her, look, unless you're in serious danger, don't tell me. Because if you tell me like some guy called you a name, it's dumb, it's reckless.
Yeah.
I'll probably drive down and be like, let me find this guy.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, don't talk to my mum like that.
Yeah.
So in a way, yeah, I think like I had to just grow up and be that protector. But my brother definitely had that role as well. My brother's the exact same as me. He's
Okay.
you know, pretty hard as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
down for anything. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, not anything. But
Yeah.
When it comes to like women and like protecting women in our family and you know the guys as well. And anyone who's younger than us, he's there,
Yeah.
man.
Okay. What was your first impressions of your stepdad?
he might be watching this and I ain't gonna lie, like when he first came on scene,
Yeah.
I was a proper naughty kid, man. So when he first came on the scene, I was like, you can't tell me nothing. I was like, I'm the second man in this house after my brother. My brother was always out doing a madness at that stage.
Yeah.
So I was like 7, but I saw myself as kind of like the man of the house.
Yeah.
So I was like, you can't tell me nothing. You aren't my dad. You're just going to live here. You're with my mum, but you're nothing to do with me. Bruv, I sit down here and sometimes I feel real guilty. The way I used to treat him in the early years and the things I used to say to him, and I think, what a waste, man. Like, I've got children myself and it's not easy to walk in to marry a woman who has 3 children and to say, you know what, I'm going to make myself vulnerable to raise these children. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the punches, keep on licking, keep on ticking, as Muhammad Ali says.
Yeah.
And he carried on, man. So at first, it didn't really start off well. But now I look at him and I'm like, you are one hell of a role model. Because like a lot of the things I do in life, I've adopted from him. So
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you think like you would have been as free as you are now if he never existed? If that makes sense. Or is that kind of hard for you to think about?
I could answer that. I think if he didn't exist and I was raised just in a single mother household until now, bro, I think I'll be doing a complete madness, man. Because
Okay.
my mum was amazing, but there's only so much she could try and keep me in line. I needed that masculine discipline. My brother was, back then he was probably doing like equally a madness as well. So he wasn't really putting me on the straight and narrow that much. He would tell me things, but I'd be like, you're my big brother, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
But when like a masculine role model comes in and like telling you, don't do this, at first I'm thinking, oh, you're a dickhead, man. But then after a while it starts drumming in and then you're thinking, well, if I do that, he's going to tell me off. So let me stop doing that. When he comes back home, let me start doing my timetables when he walks in. You know what I mean? And that's what teaching me discipline.
Yeah.
So I needed that, man. I think, you know, the issue with a lot of these kids on the roadside, I think a lot of it does stem just from fatherlessness, man. You to have a father to say, no, you're not going out today hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
You're staying at home. And you can fight, you can do what you want, but it's not happening under my watch. And I think, you know, as a father, that masculine input is more geared for that.
Did you observe a similar sort of change in your older brother with him around as well?
Nah, they were at it for years and
Oh,
years.
is it?
But that's because my brother had his dad in his life somewhat, and my brother was 14 at the time when he came on the scene. And at that stage, I said my brother was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So he was worse than me. He's like, you ain't telling me nothing. My brother was quite tall at his age as well. He was like 6 foot when he was like 12. So he was like,
one of them guys.
I'm a big man. I might not be big in age, but I'm big. Like, you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I think he won't admit it. Subliminally, he's changed his ways.
Yeah.
Because
there's a common influence in it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, there's nothing more humbling than when your dad throws you, or your stepdad, or masculine energy throws you into a Christmas tree. That's when I realized, that like, as much as I thought I was big and tough, and we were playing wrestling with my dad on Christmas.
Yeah.
And I realized, I was like, yeah. You see all this chat, where you're like, if your dad ever got into it with your mum, you'd sleep your dad. You ain't doing nothing. You're doing nothing. And I was like, yo, this is mad. Because, like, sometimes, especially as men, you can have all the will in the world, innit? Yeah. Like, if you go up against Mike Tyson, and you're a sure person, you're going to give it your best shot. But your best shot ain't good enough. We just know that, And I feel like when you're growing up as a young kid, you need that because...
It's humbling, innit?
Yeah, and especially, like, similar to you, I was a fighter in school. You say something, it's war. Like, I was known for throwing chairs across, throwing books at people, anything like... Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't even come from a mad home. Nothing was mad about my life. No, like, I just had this kind of pent-up aggression where it was like... Yeah, because also, like, my family come from an African background. When I was in school, it wasn't cool. There was no Afro beats. There was no nothing. Yeah, it's not cool to be black and African. Yeah,
in particular.
Cool. In particular, it was cool to be black and Jamaican. Yeah, but then even my Jamaican friends got stigma from like my African network because they'll be like, "Oh, they're the bad kids." Do you know what I'm saying? You stay with them boys, you're gonna end up smoking weed and doing nothing with your life. Yeah. So even within the black community, everybody had a stigma. There was so much friction. Whereas now you could go to a rave, whether it's dance hall, whether it's Afro beats, random dancing, innit? Yeah. If I played the music that my parents were playing at home, at school, at the time I was at school,
laughed out of the playground,
it would have been finished, game over, So then I just got into fights. It'll be like, oh, so what's your real name? People be making click sounds. I'll be like, bro, I will F you up. If you want to go right now, let's just go in it. Like, we don't need to do the talky thing. Let's just go in it. So I found myself, especially in primary school, just before secondary school, so many fights.
It's mad because me and him are so completely different, innit? Because like when people are doing the click, innit? I said, well, that just shows your ignorance then, doesn't it? You know what I'm saying? And walking off, you know? Whereas like Don was just like, so you can, I'm going to punch him in the face.
So you can see how I got humbled when I got dashed
into the tree.
Yeah, because I was like, bro, I can't.
By accident.
Yeah, I can't fight my dad. When he's giving him punches and he's just looking at me like some fly, like
tickling me, man.
So I think masculine energy is so like important for not even just for men, do you know what I'm saying, or young, like I know there's the conversation about young boys, isn't it, but also for females as young women growing up, you know, because it teaches them the distinction between the two. If you don't have something, you lack it. Do you know what I'm saying? If you lack something, then there's already a deficit. So I think it's mad important, and I think we neglect it sometimes, but luckily where some people choose to step out of their male masculine role model, that hopefully there's examples somewhere, or even like, you know, some people are creatives, so even by reading a book and they're like, oh yeah, this person is someone that I would like my partner to be like. Do you know what I'm saying? And then at least
positive
there's something. There we go, exactly.
Yeah, true. Can you tell me one realization about your mum that you've made as an adult that you didn't have as a child?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I came ready today.
One realization about my mum that I didn't have as a child. Ooh. So something I've realized as an adult that I didn't realize about my mum when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'd say when I was younger, like, you know, when, like I said, I didn't grow up with loads of money. I didn't grow up with abundance of cash. I didn't have a trust fund and all that stuff that you see these kids have these days. Yeah. So when, like, my mum bought me the PlayStation 2, I remember, when I was in year 6. Obviously, I was grateful, innit? Because we didn't have anything like that. I was like, yeah, thank you. But then now I'm older, now I'm earning an income, now I've got children myself, and I realise that, you know, you've got bills, you've got mortgage, you've got everything coming out of your bank account, how hard it actually is to supply, you know, luxuries and stuff for your children. Now that I think back to it, I'm thinking, wow, like, somewhere along the line, she sacrificed for me here.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you don't really realize that. You're just sitting there, you're banging Grand Theft Auto, like, yeah, this is sick. But you don't realize, man, like, you know, she's probably had to cut meals at work. You know, she's probably bringing in packed lunches. She's probably like, put it on a credit card. She's paying off monthly. You just don't know, man. So I guess what I realize now is just the level of sacrifice that she must have had in my early years.
Yeah, it's mad. Let me tell you, electricity don't stop, you know. Listen, bro, you buy the console, then you got to pay for the electricity, and then if you keep buying games, then it is what it is, isn't it? It's like a constant financial, We don't see it. We don't see it at all.
It's mad because I remember when we were growing up, my mum used to have like a time. Like you play your PlayStation for 1 hour. And that's it. And we used to think, 1 hour, man, what the hell is this, you know? But you don't realize that, like, the electricity going, meters going, you know, and...
He said we used to play. Bro, this guy used to put the wire in the back here. It's not even plugged in and give me the control.
I've seen the memes, man. Your mum's like, little brother play.
Bro, do you know what? It's so funny, that, like, I've grown up here now, and things like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, I can't play. I can play Tekken, I can play FIFA, I can play games like that.
2-player games.
Yeah, but he used to rule the 1-player games. So I never got used to playing it. So when I play Grand Theft Auto, I just get shot in the head and it's just like wasted. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you want to do?
Yeah, but I love 1-player games.
And that's the thing, I'd rather watch them. I'd rather watch someone who's really skilled at playing them, play them. Because, bro, if you ask me to do a mission, I'm getting killed like 20 times. And then like 21st time, I bust it like, it's like level 2. You're just like, what? So.
Yeah, that is mad. It is mad how like your childhood can have like influential factors. I know it's been well documented, but just hearing it like, because obviously me hogging the Xbox or the PlayStation, you don't think about like, am I depriving my brother of like an experience further down the line? You just think, listen, we got 1 hour to play this. Let's do my thing for half an hour or 45 minutes. And then we can do our thing for 15 minutes.
Them childhood selfish ways, man. Oh, bro.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's like when you're a child, you just don't, like, you're just not thinking, like, everything revolves around you, innit? Like, when I see my younger brother as well, so there's me, there's Sammy. So the difference between me and Sammy is 3 years, isn't it? So Sammy's 3 years my senior. And then with my younger brother, it's 13 years between him and 10 years between me and my younger brother.
Oh, swear.
Yeah.
It's a big gap then.
Yeah, massive. So when I see him sometimes, I'm like, bro, why are you such a child? And then I'm like, he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is. And his world revolves around him at this moment in time. I'm like, oh, okay, well, enjoy. You know what I'm saying, Carl? There's going to come a time. Your life ain't gonna revolve around you anymore.
You're last in the list, bro.
Literally.
Everyone comes before you.
That's
real adulthood, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What is some of the challenges you found with that kind of having to put yourself last from someone who's been quite emotive?
It's tough, man, because I'm not gonna lie, bro. I keep it real, man. There are some days where I'm like, this is long. I want to just do what I want to do. I want to put myself first, bun everyone. We all have them days, innit?
Yeah.
And I just, like I just said, I just think back to like my parents and the things they had to do. Bro, my mum and my stepdad, my dad, they never, ever, ever put themselves first. The kids were always first. Like, if they're going on a holiday, you know, like, you see some madnesses where like people have kids that are like 11 and 13 and they just jet off. They just leave all the kids at home. I'm thinking, right, you just jet off for 2 kids and leave your kids. I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Whereas if they're going on holiday, they always brought us.
Yeah, same.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I think real parenting is about, man. Like, you involve your kids in everything and you make sure that if you're eating good, your kids are eating good. But make sure your kids probably eat a bit better than you. Put yourself towards the back. So yeah, I have days where I'm like, bun this, man. I'm gonna put myself first. But I very quickly snap out of it.
Yeah. Do you feel guilty like when you?
Yeah, bro. Like, bro, you get so bad. Like, even if I go to like a food shop and I'm sitting and I'm eating fried chicken, I'm like, this is nice, man. I'm like, I gotta go back home and come in with some fried chicken.
Yeah.
Can't come back home with my belly full and everyone's looking at me hungry. You know what I mean?
It's true. It gives you a good awareness.
of
like other people. You know, I think that's one of the most important things about family that kind of gets glossed over. You know, like, you learn how to cater to other people and you're more emotive in terms of how you deal with other people's emotions. Yeah.
Agreed.
That's mad.
Yeah. What did you like to do for fun as a teenager?
Shall I say the one that's not going to get me arrested?
Yeah. Please, we don't want no arrest happen.
No, there's nothing that mad. It was probably just like doing little dumb stuff on the roads. But what did I used to do for fun as a teenager? Probably playing games, like we just said. But back in the days, man, we used to love riding our bikes. You know, bicycles.
Yeah.
We used to have like wheelie challenges on the ends to see who could do like the most wheelies and who can hold the wheelies for the longest. So, bro, I used to be outside. I'm one of these people that I'm so objective driven. So I'm like, if someone says, "Oh, I can do a wheelie for longer than you," bro, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll be out there doing wheelies for 24 hours. My mum like, "You coming for a drink?" Yeah, 2 minutes. 3 hours later, I'm still doing wheelies. So we used to do like wheelie challenges and things like that.
Yeah.
Boxing, athletics, things like that I used to find really fun. They were good because it kept me away from just doing like all the stupid stuff all my friends were doing.
Yeah.
So I guess just sort of normal stuff that children back then used to do, not the stuff they do now.
Yeah. I think that's... I have a theory that like sports are really important for young children, especially boys, because they get a new... I don't want to say a new master in it, but they get a new head that's not their dad, that's not going to try and protect them. If they don't do the activity well, they're going to get critiqued on it. And I think learning how to take critique as a young person is really important in order for skill development to happen. Because if you don't take on criticism well, you're never going to see like the opportunities for yourself to expand and grow into something or grow into your potential. So I think that sports do that in a way that's almost unique to everything else, especially for young children.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I had a coach when I was 13, a guy from Nigeria called Joe. I have never, ever seen discipline like it in my life. Like, I was 13, obviously, young. He's from Nigeria. He was only in the UK maybe for like 5 or 6 years, but he's very hard-headed, stubborn Nigerian, man. Like, if you don't listen to him, he used to hit me with the hurdles. You know what the hurdles? He's like, hey. He hit me with the hurdles. So I was like, rah, man, this is real discipline.
Yeah.
Listen, I was so in line. Listen, when I was that age, I would talk back to anyone. Don't care if you're older than me. I'm not gonna lie, I had no respect, man. I was lawless. With him, I knew the score, man. This is what I'm saying. When you have powerful, inspirational men who just don't take crap from anyone, I don't care who you are, you're gonna respect them.
Yeah.
And that was me. I respected him.
Yeah.
And he sent me train 5 days a week. So I tell people all the time, I started training properly when I was like 10 years old, and people are like, nah, you didn't. I'm like, no, I swear down, I actually did. And he used to get me in circuits every day. I used to throw up most sessions. He didn't care. And you know what? I'm glad, because that flipped a switch in my head and it made me the person I am today, whereas I can push myself as hard as I want. I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable. I know people say it, but I'm very comfortable there. It doesn't faze me. And I think that's probably because of the input I got from him.
Yeah. Is that the greatest thing that you think that you got from that time?
I think so. Because you know what? Once I actually met him, that's when I stopped getting expelled from schools. That's when I stopped misbehaving. That's when, like, athletics gave me another focus. But then having someone there who's just going to say, nah, you don't rule the roost, bro. You're going to listen to what I say. I needed that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen to anyone. You know, like them guys who just... You know, you see them people with kids and you're like, you're just horrible to be around.
Yeah.
That was me, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy? Yeah, when I was playing basketball, I never listened to anyone. I'm thinking about like my journey, and I don't think I took authority very well from many people. Like, I got sent out Spanish classes, like, for telling some girl to fetch. I got like moved down the set.
Fetch?
Yeah, bro, long story, innit? Basically, I threw a pencil case and they told me to go pick it up. I was like, I'm a dog, bro. She should go fetch that still. Right. And then the teacher dashed me out of the class. But yeah, I don't remember many people like being able to regulate me unless I enjoyed something or get me to do something that I didn't want to do, apart from my basketball coach. He was the only person, who would say to everyone, if every single person in this sports hall, who has a PE kit on, doesn't run, we all run suicides again. And as annoyed as I got with it, I still did it. I never gave him no back chat. Nothing. If he said run again, just be like, oh, bro, I don't like this guy, bro. And you just get running.
Whilst you're running, you're cussing.
Yeah, while you're running, you're cussing.
I know them ones.
But in every other class, I got sent out for doing something mad.
It's always coaches, innit? Like, I just feel like there's something that makes a coach where when they talk, you're just like, I don't want to do it, but all right.
I completely agree, man. Even,
I mean, I think he's a waste man now, isn't it? Just put that on record, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, at the time, innit, he was that guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at all these celebrities, like, you know, people who've actually been successful in sports, and they all say, none of them really talk about their fathers too tough, which is weird. They all say, I had this one coach who took me out of school. You know, I was getting arrested all the time. They took me out of that police station and they took me under their wing. People like Mike Tyson and that, crazy stories. Yeah. It seems to be a bit of a theme, like you just said, with coaches and like the input they have on people's lives.
Yeah.
It's just...
Because they're the true, like, as a dad, you're always going to have biases. Like, you can raise your children however you want, but you're always going to pander to them a little bit. But with your coach, they see you for what you actually are.
Exactly.
And if you have deficiencies, they tell you about it and they iron it out. They have a plan to make you better. Like, they physically, a lot of the time, despite where your ceiling is as an athlete, they raise you from what you are when you go in. If you commit to the program, you always become something more. And there's very few instances in life where you get that. You know what I mean?
I think that's why lots of people identified when Coach Carter came out.
Oh, bro, that's true.
Yeah, because
crazy.
I remember everyone just be like, yo, because everybody was able, not everybody, but anyone who played sports or, you know, had a male mentor was like, I get it.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That was crazy.
A sick film, though.
Yeah.
Do you think that things like affirmation, because obviously you've spoken a little bit about your time with depression and stuff. So do you think that, have you had any benefits from like positive affirmations and like motivational messages and stuff?
Should I be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
Motivational messages I can relate to. I don't know if you know Inky Johnson. Inky Johnson is a motivational speaker, but his story I can relate to massively. So I find him really inspiring and impacting. But then I'm not gonna lie, affirmations, I'm a bit like, you know, I don't want to sit in my room chanting, I'm great for 10 minutes a day. I think obviously you need to have positive thoughts. So you need to tell yourself, I'm going to get myself out of this. And that's what I used to do anyway. So I guess it's somewhat an affirmation, but when it becomes a bit like scripted and a bit like, like you're chanting a bit like, then I don't really know if it actually really works. What helped me the most with depression really was, bro, I tried everything, man. I tried CBD oil. People are like, that's going to work, man. You're going to feel good in 2 weeks. Nothing. I tried antidepressants. Nothing. I just felt numb and just hated everyone. They don't actually... Why antidepressants work, and I'm not saying no one should ever take them, but what they do is any feelings you have, it just numbs it. Right. So I couldn't ever build a friendship with people because I just didn't feel emotion.
Right.
So I just be like, yeah, he's cool. Like, whatever, innit? Kind of thing. So I tried all of that. Tried therapy, and I was just like, I couldn't see past the fact that this person is just getting paid to talk to me. Oh, yeah.
A bit like what I did.
But you know what, like, with you, I can see there's a difference. You care about people. But like these people, I'm sitting and I'm just like, this is like some corporate thing where they just tick some boxes. Okay, he was depressed. Okay, I'm now going to say this. It didn't feel genuine. So I tried that, and then I got to the stage where I was just like, you know what, bun it. I know what works for me. I went back to when I was a child, and I was like, when I really emptied the tank in training, that helps. So I put on loads of weight, like I said. I haven't said this, but I said it in another podcast. Yeah. And I started going to, there's a place in Crystal Palace here, the National Sports Centre. There's a hill behind there. And I used to go there every day, sometimes even at 3 a.m. Just put my headphones on, but I could have got killed. I don't know what's going on. All these guys riding around on stolen mopeds around me. It's crazy. And I was like, I'm just going to run as many hill sprints as I can till I can't think anymore. And people were like, that's a very sadistic thing to do. And I said, no, but it works for me. Yeah. And I'm not saying it works for everyone, but the whole affirmation thing, I think it's a bit of like a new trend. I think really to beat depression, you just have to say, you know what? I'm attacking this head on, man. No one can sugarcoat it for me. No one can wrap me in marshmallow. It's going to be hard at times. It's going to be real shit. You're going to be uncomfortable, but you have to do it.
Yeah. Because I've had this thing where I feel like I got to be careful how I say this, innit? But like with the affirmation thing, I feel like it's convincing yourself of, and because you're convincing yourself, you acknowledge that you're not.
I like that.
Does that make sense?
I've never thought that. I like that.
Yeah. So then it's like, why not just work to be that without like constantly reminding yourself that you're not, like say, I am confident. Like confident people don't need to say
that.
That's very true. Yeah. Do you know what? Like, perfect example. So you're saying I am confident. Yeah. you would get more out of putting yourself in massive social settings, going on a podcast,
Yeah.
doing something you hate. That's going to make you confident.
Yeah.
Bro, I hate public speaking. I hate podcasts. I hate all these things. I hate them.
Yeah.
Like, probably 5 years ago, if you asked me to public speak or go on a podcast, I'd say, no way, not happening. But I thought, you know what? If you've got fear of something, the best way to beat that is to face it head on.
Yeah.
Might be shit the first time. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. It might be rubbish the first time. But that's how you get better.
That's how you get better.
And if I stood in my room for 5 years going, I'm not fearful, bro, I'd be sitting there still now doing nothing. Just talking.
Yeah.
So actions beat words.
I agree.
All day.
I'm of that ilk. Like one of the reasons, so there's a couple of reasons why this podcast started. One was because like I used to live with Don in a flat, but then obviously when I got married, and then when my daughter was coming, we decided to move somewhere else, and we weren't spending enough time together. But also, so we started doing it together. But also, I realized like I'm not very good in like social situations with people that I don't know. And so we started inviting guests on the show.
Yeah.
Partly because I wanted to hear the stories of people that I admire and stuff. But also because it was a unique opportunity to try and connect with people.
Yeah.
You know, that I wouldn't necessarily like meet and connect with in real life. So I think you're right in terms of your solution has to be action based. You know, like
And I feel like you don't ever, so for me in life, I didn't always realize it. So for example, the fact that you're not so social, I always thought to myself, where did I get my social nature from? And where did I don't really have a fear of public speaking. I just say whatever's on my mind, and that someone's trying to ring me. Listen, bro, it's not the right time. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Anyway, so I never knew where it came from. Then I realized, these people were putting me out. So like, I was a church boy, innit? I don't even know. It was mad, like, cause I used to do a madness in church. Even like, I had to go to the pastor's office for shooting someone with a BB gun, like madness. When I say in church, madness, innit? I threw someone over some chairs and something, madness, innit? I think even me and you got into beef. Yeah. So it was
hands though.
No hands, no hands. But but it's always been a madness. And then I remembered that when I started like singing in church, I used to get made to do solos. Bro, I was bricking it, fam. I don't think I'm a good singer by any stretch of the means. Well, now I can hold a note in it. But I was just thinking, so not just have you asked me to do a solo, you turn my mic up because now I'm the only person singing, and everyone's just watching me, waiting for me to think this note, like to get this note out, And then I remember after a while, I was just like, you're just gonna have to do it, cause you can't just stand here. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody's waiting for you to sing, so you just sing in it, like, and you just hope that people clap in it. And if they don't clap, well, it's not that big of a deal. You just go home, like. You think that the world is gonna end in it if everybody doesn't like what you're doing, but you slowly realize that it doesn't.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, people just get on with their day.
See, that's my like. I don't like saying I have anxiety, but I have a big issue with like catastrophization.
Okay.
So it's like, if I get in my car, I'm like, there's a possibility I could crash today. Like, and that could be it, wiped out. I don't know why. A lot of the stuff that I have, like the first thing that comes into my mind is like the worst case scenario. So I always have to battle with that. Do you know what I mean? And I think the more that I do things, the more comfortable I get with it. I wonder what it's like for other people, whether like I'm an outlier in that sense, or whether people actually like think to the same degree. Like,
So
I remember
did you ever
getting
feel like that?
Yeah, like when you just get like mad, extreme, like dark thoughts kind of things.
Yeah, and not just dark thoughts. It's like, I remember when I used to get like super anxiety around my driving test, innit? Because like I used to put so much onto it. Yeah, if that makes sense. So that's I have a massive issue with that. You know, like if somebody's like, oh, let's go here and do that, like immediately I'm like, yeah, but what if like guys turn up and they stab everyone?
Yeah,
you know?
But that's mad.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like it's weird.
It's mad.
It's weird, but it's what makes me so good at situation. But
you let the secret out of the bag now, yeah.
But it's just I've had to learn how to like deal with that and just be like, this is just your mind talking. Like, this is a new experience. This is something that's new to you, and because you don't want to do it, you're coming up with these like barriers.
Okay.
And so I've learned how. In some cases, it's harder than others, but I've learned how to sort of utilize it and just understand what it is, and then let it pass. I suppose the question that I want to ask off the back of that is, how different is depression from that type of thing?
Depression's different because I always describe it as, feeling colorblind in the world that's full of color. That's like everyone's telling you the world's so colorful, man. Can you not see the color? And you're like, nah, man, it all looks black and white to me. And it's just like walking with a heavy load on your back, man. It's like, imagine having a rucksack and you've just got a rucksack just full of like barbell weights and things like that. And it's just getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And eventually you're like, man, I'm going to give up here. My back's really hurting. You just feel yourself slowly but surely sinking. It's like a sinking feeling I can't explain, in that you feel like there's literally no way out. You're consumed by everything. It's just negative. Someone could say to you, I just won a lottery. And you'll be like, yeah, but you could lose it next week. Like, the mind just goes into like a mad negative state. Like, I remember times where I was going through depression real bad. And I used to do some things. I look back at it now, and I just used to attack people for no reason. Not like physically.
Yeah.
But like, I'll just verbally attack people. And it's only like over the last 2 years, I've actually started messaging people like individually on Instagram. Anyone who I remember that I was rude to, I'm like, I'm really sorry. It's not an excuse to say I was going through depression, but it's not on. And I apologize, and I hope you can forgive me. Luckily, it's been received quite well. But depression is just something that's just tough, man. It's really hard to explain to someone unless you've gone through it. When I was younger, I used to say to people, well, why are you depressed, bro? Just be happy. I used to see my brother when he was depressed when he was younger. He's like, bro, just be happy. I don't understand. Just click your fingers, you're happy. Go outside, go chat to girls. I don't know, do something. Make you happy.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's not like that. And I was like, oh, whatever, man. This is some soft shit, man.
Making excuses, yeah.
And then when I experienced it at 21, I was like, man, this is like the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get out of bed. Like, it's crazy. So I think what depression does ultimately is it zaps all motivation out of you, all drive, all love for people, and all care. Like, you see some people who are depressed who just lose all care for themselves. They don't cut their hair, they don't care about their weight. They just don't care. You just go on a path of self-destruction.
Yeah. So what do you when you're talking about the just snap out of it mentality, do you feel like that's the biggest preconception about depression that people who haven't been through it have? Just that, like, well, stop being depressed, bro. Yeah. Kind of thing.
I think that is it. You tell someone you're feeling depressed, they're like, well, I don't understand. You can just go out and just be happy. Like, go and book yourself a flight somewhere, just be happy. And I'm like, depression is different because depression isn't so much situational. I could fly to Jamaica tomorrow. If I'm feeling depressed, I'm going to feel depressed in Jamaica. It's me. It's not where I am.
Okay.
And people don't understand unless you've been through it. You can't just switch it off. I can't just say but then you can switch it off. And what I used to do is, back in the days, I used to resort to alcohol. So I'd go out drinking and partying with all my friends. Yeah, man, this is sick. Bun depression. Wake up the next day, I feel double depressed because I haven't faced it head on. I'm now drunk. I'm now hungover. I've now spent bare money with people I don't even want to be around. And I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah, and alcohol is a depressant as well, isn't it? So like,
oh my God, it's a depressant.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, alcohol, I'm going to say it's controversial. The only reason why alcohol is legal is because it makes the country so much money and it makes the world so much money. Alcohol, in my opinion, I don't smoke cannabis. I don't take any drugs, obviously. But I'd say alcohol is more dangerous than cannabis. I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Because in terms of, I'm not going to say like long term it's more dangerous, because obviously cannabis can have mental health impact on your life.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the immediate reaction it can have, if someone drinks too much alcohol, they can go out and do a complete madness.
Yeah. I think I've thought about this for a long time, because you look at things like drink driving, domestic abuse goes up with alcohol. You have alcohol addiction, which has its own implications, both health-wise and socially. And then you just think, why is this thing legal? Do you know what I'm saying? But I suppose in some senses, like, I don't want to get like too theoretical in it. One, because I'm not necessarily a massively academic person in it. But when like Marx was talking about football being like bread and circuses for the masses, and that like something to appease the masses because a lot of injustice stuff was going on. I feel like that's what alcohol is. I feel like a lot of people work in jobs that they're not necessarily satisfied with. Maybe their relationships aren't as rewarding as they are, but on Friday they can go out with a bunch of people and they can celebrate in this way, and that moment alleviates a lot of their problems or their issues. So I am a bit of a freedom merchant in it. So it's like I don't know if I would outlaw it, if that makes sense, but definitely I feel like people should have some sort of education around the implications of drinking and binge drinking in particular, because there are people who drink but like live relatively normal and healthy lives. Yeah, but it's just
everything in moderation.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like alcohol abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the people like on a Friday or Saturday, they're like, I'm gonna go and get legless. Yeah. And then you see them like asleep in some corridor. And I'm like, say what you want about alcohol being safe, but is he safe right now?
Yeah.
Someone could go up to him, rob him, abuse him, sexually abuse him. They could do anything to him.
Yeah.
And
He
you got no idea.
know.
I remember the first time I blacked out off alcohol, and I was like, yo, what this? Bro, I remember sitting there, on the floor, and I couldn't move. And it was jokes, because it was like second day of uni, innit? So like, in that environment, it's all bants, innit? But I remember the next day, I was just like, this is actually wild.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was breathing, I was seeing to some degree, and everything was just moving slow-mo. But no matter how much I told my brain, I couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
That's mad. And it was the first time I ever experienced that, innit? Because before I was off the alcohol pops with like the WKDs and the Bacardis, innit? And then I had a few drinks in it, because I used to dance in it, so I used to get access to free drinks in it, even though I was like underage. Sorry. And it was like, I always was exposed to alcohol, but just not in that volume. And I went to university and I got a big bottle of JD, the biggest bottle you could find. Not the hench ones, but the big bottle of like JD. And I got convinced to drink the whole bottle, and it was mad.
Whole bottle?
Oh yeah, straight.
You're lucky that you didn't.
You're lucky you didn't die, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone says that to me. Since that day, I never had a hangover though.
Have you not?
But
Don't say it like that, because we're not endorsing it.
No,
You
we're
know what
not
I mean?
endorsing it.
It's like,
Yeah.
if you drink this bottle of JD, you're gonna have
No,
immunity.
bro, listen. Hey, which one's my camera? I am done, yeah. You get me? Yeah. Don't do what I do, because you're not done. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Chill out in there. I got very lucky in it. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I just remember it, and I think to myself, that can't be good for people. You know, that who are intentionally, as you said, trying to be legless, bro. Bro, I couldn't move, bro. Like, even my thoughts were processing slow. It's mad.
And like, going back to what we were saying in the beginning, like, you think about women's safety
There we go.
when they're binge drinking like that, and it just makes them so much more prone to like abuse.
Listen, I've seen like Central London is probably the most scary, primitive place I've ever been in the UK. Sorry, even in the world. Central London, when you go Central London after 1 o'clock, there are guys purposely just waiting around like predators to see drunk women. And you see them, they come out the woodworks and they just would like chat to a drunk woman. The woman's like, ooh, in her own little world. And I'm like, there's been times before, I'm like, look, I'm Ash. I'm going to make sure you get a taxi because you look like out of place here. You're going to stand out. I make sure they get in a taxi, make sure I told the Uber driver, make sure they're a proper Uber driver, and I say, make sure you get them home. And I think, man, if I weren't there, what would happen?
Yeah.
And I just want to think, like, alcohol, man, the risk it puts people under, there's no need for it.
Yeah, it's a mad one, isn't it? And you know that there are guys who purposely, like, ply women with alcohol in order
That's
to...
mad.
Yeah,
that is so mad. I would, listen, let me say it on live camera,
Yeah, go on.
You are never gonna catch me, sleeping with anybody, who is absolutely drunk, unless, there's a ring on my finger and a ring on her finger, and we are both married, And even then, I probably wouldn't violate like that. Honestly, I probably wouldn't violate like that. There is no, listen, without getting too graphic in it, I like living beings, my brother. You see the work that I'm putting in? You also have to put that work in, innit? A lifeless... No, brother, that's not me, Go get yourself a little doll or something like that and stop messing around, Bro, what are you doing? Like, anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I hate you.
Yeah, no, that's mad.
Yeah. So a quick pivot from goals and that. What does fitness mean to you? Because obviously you're involved in the fitness world, and you spoke about how that was like the beginning of you coming out of your depression.
Can I just say how small you two are making man look? And I'm in the middle of you two, yeah. So just for those people, yeah, I'm about 6 foot, yeah, and I'm blenched, super hench. I walk around looking like Arms Corleone. You get me? No, joking.
Arms Corleone. That guy's big.
Yeah, he's wham, yeah.
Oh, ridiculous.
So yeah, anyway, back to serious life.
Yeah.
What does fitness mean to me? Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah.
Fitness to me is good because, like I said, I think you have to stimulate your mind often. Even if you stimulate your mind by reading a book, there has to be some sort of stimulation. And I stimulate my mind by exercising. So when I train, it's like all that crap that's in my mind, I just get rid of it, just dump it. But I think training and fitness is good because it shows you that you can have a limit in life, but the limit isn't really realistic because you can push past the limit. And sort of a few years ago, I would never be thinking I'm lifting the numbers I'm lifting now because I used to be like, nah, that's mad. Like those guys who are lifting numbers are like, I don't know, some roid heads from America. That's what I used to be thinking. And then when I started training hard and like taking it pretty seriously, I started to see my numbers go up. And then I was like, this is actually interesting because that I can actually apply to real life now. You know, you must have seen it. You know, when you're younger, you see people around you, and you think, how has that guy made all this money? Like, how has he made it to this level of fame and success? How has he done it? And you think it's impossible. But I think fitness is good because it shows you that you can have a limit, but the limit doesn't really apply because you can keep going through that. And then as well on top of that, in terms of like the mental health effects and benefits, mate, it's incredible, man. You know, I've told you I've done CBD oil, I've done therapy, I've done all that kind of stuff. Nothing comes even 1% close to what fitness comes to. Nothing.
I mean, you said that. I mean, Sammy said something that I always use to describe fitness to other people, and it was that, you see, there's a lot of things in life that you can lie about, yeah? But when you get underneath a bar, yeah, if you haven't lifted the bar before, the likelihood of you being able to lift it is very low. You can't cheat yourself in the gym. You can either lift it or you can't.
Yeah.
And not many people have natural strength where they're just going into the gym and bench pressing 100 kg. They've had to work up to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's a great thing. You know, you go in, you put in, and you get out, and you understand that, okay, if I'm going to get anywhere, and you apply it to life, and you go, okay, if I'm going to get anywhere in life, I have to put in. If I don't put in, then it's my fault because I'm not going to be able to do what I didn't put in for. So, yeah.
Like for me, training is the most meritocratic place you can find. Yeah. What you put in, you get out. If you train well, if you eat decently, your body changes. This is just the natural process of training. You get stronger. Depending on your training, you might get more flexible. And that is the benefit of what you're doing. And also, like what Ash, you said about realizing that limitations are not infinite. Like they're only for a set period. Like you can't lift it today, but we're going to try again tomorrow, you know? And having that approach to life is really, I feel like it's like a secret weapon because you realize that like things are not necessarily as they seem or they're not set in stone. And that like, not today, but another day, not today, but another day. And that keeps you on the process of development. Whereas like if you throw your hands up and like, well, it wasn't today, it's never. You know, you never push the boundaries. Look how many times. Like I remember I used to see people in the gym. I'm like, how long you been training for? They're like 10 years.
Yeah, it takes long, man.
Yeah, and I'm like
overnight.
10 years. You know, because you're so used to seeing like, oh, get shredded in 6 weeks and this, that, and the other. And look at shaking.
I'm shaking my head because I actually made a video on that yesterday, and I was like, people walk into gyms here and they're like, oh, I want to look like my favorite influencer, or I want to look like that guy. And I'm like, don't look at the crap he's on Instagram. Talk to that guy. See how long he's been training for. Like you just said, it probably said, I've been training for 10, 20 years. I've been eating this much protein every day. You know, I do a push-pull legs workout for the last 10 years. This man takes it pretty seriously. So his body's obviously going to adapt and change in the way that he wants it to. But if you just do an 8-week program from a guy from Instagram and he tells you you're going to look like him, he's finessing you. He's scamming you. You're going to look nothing like him.
Yeah, it's true. Because I used to like, because I was heavy into bodybuilding like back in the day. And when you get into it, it's a bit mad because you've got all of these protein shakes in it and they're being like sponsored by Kai Green. And you're like, oh wow, yeah, that protein powder, he must use that, and that's why he's that big. There's a lot of like math, and then you realize the math ain't mathing in it, like, because he doesn't use.
Nah, he doesn't use that.
Yeah.
He's using like extra supplements, supplements that you can't buy from Holland. I don't know where he's getting them from, but
Yeah, exactly. And so it's when you start along that journey, it is a illuminating experience, because you get to see like the truthful from the untruthful, because obviously some people are not in a position to come out and say like, look, this is my regimen, this is what I'm taking, this is you know, sponsors and all the other stuff, but you get to see like roughly what equates to a body that's natural and what equates to a body that, you know, is enhanced. And so you sort of learn how to navigate that stuff as well.
yeah, I agree with that. That's very true.
But what I don't like is what you were saying, how some people use their enhancements, we'll put it that way, and then say like, oh, you can look like me by following this 10-week plan. And
Yeah, I know you've always hated that.
bro, I don't like it, because
I
it's
don't
just
either.
yeah,
It's
because when that person finishes,
They're gonna look nothing like that roidhead,
and they're gonna feel a certain way about it, like, oh, what didn't I do?
and
Like,
he'll be like, oh, you just didn't. You know, you weren't training as hard as I was.
Yeah.
Let's give it another go. It's another £500. He's finessing you, bro.
I was about to say, coming from the area that you did, do you feel like you've always had that, like, I don't know, that radar for like people finessing?
Do you know what, yeah, bro? I'm so glad you asked me that, because I was chatting to someone the other day, yeah, and they were like, are you proud you're from London? I said, yes, absolutely. I don't live in London anymore. But I said, why I like being from London is I can hang around with people who aren't from London. I can see something a mile off from, like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to try and rob you. He's going to finesse you. Like, be careful of your stuff. He's going to try and pickpocket you.
Yeah.
Or that guy, don't go near him. He's probably going to try and stab you up. You
Yeah.
can see it a mile off.
yeah.
So I'm glad. I'm so streetwise. But when I grew up in Brixton, bro, you had to be.
Yeah.
I ain't going to just go and walk into Maxfield Estate and be like, what's
Yeah,
going on, bro?
literally, yeah.
Let's
Not
go
a
play
joke.
football, man.
Yeah.
Talking about who is this guy? I remember there's a guy in Maxfield, yeah. I've got him on Instagram. His name's Mad Max. That's what they used to call him. And he used to say to people, if you want to come to Maxfield, where's your passport? He used to say, where's your passport?
That's mad.
AK, who do you know here to be on this
Yeah,
block?
yeah.
So I think all of that has made me very streetwise.
Yeah.
I think it does. Like, even me, like, I wasn't like on the roads, innit? Like,
Yeah.
I was only on the roads to go to the library.
No, I rate it though, man.
It's crazy that we came from the same household.
Yeah, bro, I rate that,
I was
man.
jumping fences to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rate that.
But even so, like you say, you're able to see certain things. Like, why is he walking like this way, like that, innit? And
So purposefully, yeah.
yeah, and like you just get to notice certain things, like, oh no, that's a finesse. That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's
Do you know what? There's still stuff that I don't understand to this day, like how impressionable a young mind is, isn't it? So I remember we all used to get lined up against a wall, and then some brother used to kind of, yo, stop patting people's pocket. Yo, what you got for me? What you got for me?
I used to hate that line.
Yeah. And I used to, and I remember one day I was walking home, I was actually so vexed, and I was thinking to myself, hey, but there's more of us. Why are we getting violated like this? There's 5 of us, There's just one older brother who's lining us up and asking us, yo, what's it? And then I think one of my boys just spazzed on him, innit? And he kind of drew back in it. But yeah, I'm always aware of stuff. So I went to university in Portsmouth.
Oh, okay, yeah. Portsmouth.
And I remember being in Portsmouth and like all my friends, innit? And my friends are predominantly white from Portsmouth, innit? You would expect that, you know. And I remember, I just used to see them and I used to be like, bro, like, how are you not clocking you're in danger right now? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you so oblivious, to the danger you are in right now? You're living the time of your life like you're in Skins. This ain't Skins, my brother. We need to keep it moving.
This is top boy, bro.
Yeah, literally, this is top player. So, it's it's crazy, yeah. But you do have this kind of radar from the South, and I think, you know, that's one of the things I've kind of battled with. But a question for you, because you said that you moved out. Raising children, do you feel like they should be exposed to that or they shouldn't be exposed to that?
That's a really good question, because I feel like, all right, you need the happy medium, innit? You need them to be exposed to that, but you also need to have the security of that they're not going to get too exposed to that. because I've seen too many people before where they're like, oh, you know what, like, let me just play football with the kids on the block. Then they're playing the football a bit too much, and then you're like, bun football, man, let's just go and do some other mad stuff.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, they're proper involved in that gang life.
Yeah.
Listen, I went to school with some guys like back in the days. I look at them and I'm like, you were a complete nerd in school. Like, I remember you. And I see them now and I'm like, you're some bad boy. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not even joking. Like, they
Like,
are about that.
Like,
Like,
they will genuinely stab you up. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if someone like that can just change at the flip of a hat, I'm like, I don't want my kids to be there. Because I know, like you just said, a child's mind is very impressionable.
Yeah.
They can flip in a second. So I think, being in Surrey, it's just nice, man. Like, I haven't got loads of people around me. If you drop your wallet, someone's blowing the horn. Yo, you dropped your wallet. Obviously, you get a few idiots here and there. But in terms of general safety, it's better, man.
Yeah.
But I do think you need to be streetwise, and you're not really going to get that in Surrey.
Yeah. Because we still live in South London, yeah? But our area is like mostly retirees.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So they're really nice to the kids and stuff like that. And they're very like proud of the area that they exist in, innit? Like, I know that there's some new builds that are happening and they're all very angry at the new builds because it's ruining the integrity of the road. It's like where I'm from in Fulton Heath back in the day, nobody cared about that. Like, you got a modern house, who cares, innit? But because there's like Victorian house, these houses have been like this since the 1850s, you know what I mean? And so like they have that kind of pride about their area.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I do think about it, like how streetwise do the kids get, and my overall hope is to like move out of London because I feel like I've been here too long. Like, I've been in London too long. Obviously, it's a bit difficult because a lot of facilities are around in London. You know what I mean? That maybe aren't accessible in other places, but it's a toss up. I think if I had to choose between like my kids being, I don't know, man. I was gonna say between being safe and being streetwise, I'd want them to be safe, but I don't know that that's true because when you don't understand danger, when you don't understand that you're in danger, like you're always in danger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Facts, bro. It's like I used to go to like party islands quite often, like Iron Apple, Malay, all them places.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm from London. All my boys used to go with are from London. So we could see it. Like when the Manchester boys are there being rowdy, you're like, we know exactly what they're about.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, there'll be guys from like Portsmouth or Oxford.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, this is all fun, and like bumping into these man them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, one of them's gonna turn around and stab you.
Yeah.
But they don't see the danger.
No,
I can
they
see it a
don't.
mile off.
Yeah.
So then, like you said, if you don't acknowledge danger, you're always in danger. You're gonna walk into dumb places and be like, why am I here?
Yeah.
You're gonna learn pretty quickly.
That's it.
That's like, I remember someone's telling me a story about a guy that went to their school. Cool guy. Didn't look like he's just kind of nerdy, innit? Basketball player. Hope you don't watch this, by the way. Basketball player. He just taking pictures of himself. You know, like one of them guys, innit? Always trying to look good, making sure the lighting's good. Take quick selfie and that, you know. And then he met the guys.
Oh.
Then life looked different for him. Started trapping. Now he's one of them guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, to his guys, he will never really be that guy because they know that they almost made him to some degree. But you know, it's mad.
It's mad.
You know, it's
just
crazy.
changes.
You know, like you get people like that, innit? And as you said, it just takes literally like a flip. Like I remember people, who came from like almost like Africa, innit? They were born and raised in Africa. And when they first touched down in
Which part of Africa? I can't lie, that Africa thing triggers me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I'm like, it's a big place.
Okay, that brother was Niger.
Oh, okay.
So he's Nigerian.
I'm not trying to expose anyone, but I'm just saying, like,
I hear that.
Yeah. So this brother was Nigerian, and I remember when he came in, innit? Like, obviously he's got the accent. Everyone's like, yo, da. And then you just think that he's gonna just grow up and be that boy who kind of like half got bullied in school, whatever, or people were taking the piss out of him because of his culture. 360, bro. Man got bagged. He went Ben. I was like, yo, he probably got fed up with everyone cussing him and was like, let's throw hands. And then the hands escalated to something else and just because of the culture. Now, if he was in Oxford, for example, ain't nobody really, they might bully him in a different way. Yeah. But, you know, it's not going to be the same. Yeah. You know, so it's crazy.
It is crazy. I wanted to ask you about, because it's touching on something that we talked about earlier. I know that you've done like some critiques of Instagram videos and like myths and stuff like that. What do you think is the biggest fitness myth that you've come across like so far?
The biggest fitness myth I've come across so far is when people say you can spot reduce fat. Someone says, "Oh, you can lose like lower belly fat if you just do sit-ups."
Yeah,
like, that's rubbish. That's crap. And you know what? I remember when I was in school, I used to watch all these videos. You know, like back in the days before like social media, you used to go on YouTube. Or guys spend a TV advert. You want to get a six-pack like me? Do these sit-ups. Do 500 sit-ups a day. Bro, like you said, very impressionable mind. I was 13 doing like 300 sit-ups a day in my room, thinking I'm going to look like these guys. Or I'm going to lose belly fat.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You can't just lose fat in a certain area.
Yeah.
And I love calling them out, because there's so many who are like, have millions and millions of followers. And I'm like, what you're doing, okay, I get it. You're finessing people. You're trying to make money. Cool with it. It's not my style, but if that's what you're going to do, whatever. But where I think about it is that you're now pushing out stuff that's going to be vulnerable to a young person who might believe you're crap. Yeah. And they might now feel worthless because the workout that you're doing, that you're telling them to do, they're not losing the fat in the same way that you told them it's going to move. So then they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not worth enough. Maybe I'm worthless. Maybe I'm not enough. All these sort of things, I think, really just breed mental health issues. And I think all these idiots need to be cancelled, or they need to be, I wouldn't say educated, because they know what they're doing. They know they're talking crap. Yeah. But I'd say that's the biggest myth, and it really pisses me off, man. I make a video all the time. I started even like I start attaching their video to my video. Yeah. Have you seen when I do commentary?
Yeah. But I like that though, because I think that these messages, a lot of the time we receive them as adults, innit? So we think like, oh, they're more innocuous than they are. Yeah. But like when you rightly pointed out that 16-year-olds, 13-year-olds watch your videos and see you as an authority on your craft. Yeah. And then you start talking like that and giving them false information. You know, it can have very significant ramifications on what they perceive their body to be like, and like leading to things like body dysmorphia and things like that. Exactly. So yeah, no, I think that's
very true.
Yeah, man. I never like to cancel people, innit? But like, I think when you're being gross like that, just like for a paycheck, innit? Because the thing is, as a trainer, you could make money off of your skill set anyway. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, to varying degrees, innit? Not everyone can be successful in the thing that they do. But to like lie on your thing in order to make it, I don't know.
See, I'm kind of pessimistic in that view. I just think that everybody lies on their thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like there's a difference between embellishment, like making something seem a little bit better than, and then saying like, raw, if you do this, this is going to happen. And then they're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to invest in it. Like, boom, I did it. It didn't happen. Yeah, that's because, like, you know, things don't happen just like that. You just buy another one, innit?
But you know what? Without finessing, I feel like that with the schooling system. Because it's like, you're not assured a grade. Do you know what I'm saying? And part of it is what you put in. But
but it's free.
Huh? Yeah, well, but I'm talking about higher education.
Okay.
Yeah, I just believe that part. Obviously, I'm a graduate, innit? But I believe that parts of it are a bit of a finesse.
You know what I think, yeah? Because obviously, I came out of university with a degree that I don't use, Okay, I say I don't use. To have my job, you need a degree in it. Yeah. But it could be a degree in anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually got the job because of my work experience on top of that. Okay, not necessarily the degree,
Yeah.
Right. But I think there's a massive issue with people going to university to do like anything. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Instead of like, and this is where I feel like your parents need to guide you a little bit and say, okay, what is it that you want to do? Do you need to go to university to do this? Because if you go to university, you're going to accrue debt. So think about what you want to do. Is it something that you can go on an apprenticeship for? Is there other avenues to get there? Is it more important to have the experience, doing it, than work your way up? Exactly. Or is it a job where you actually need a degree to go to? And so like, I feel like everyone's getting pushed into like degrees. They're choosing like anything, and then they're coming out and saying, yeah, higher education is a trap or a trick. It's like, to you, because you didn't plan it properly. Yeah. True. So like for me, I wish that I'd waited maybe a year to figure out what I wanted to do.
I was about to say what. Oh, sorry, go.
Yeah.
I was about to say actually, what are your views on education? Because obviously you was saying that you didn't have the greatest time in education, but obviously you're now a parent. So where do you kind of draw the line on education, and then say, well, actually, if you want to do something else?
I was actually lucky. I got like GCSE, A levels, that kind of stuff. Luckily, just somehow managed to wing it. But I think what you're saying is spot on. I think just dumping kids into the whole, like the old like Caribbean / African approach. You're going to go to university. I don't care what you study, you're going to go. I think, okay, it's good to have a degree in something.
Yeah.
It shows commitment to an employer that I can stick to something for 4 years, 3 years, however long, and get something at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's good. But then, like you just said, you're going to inherit 30 grand worth of debt at least to study a course which isn't really going to get you that job you want. So I think unless you're doing like something specialist, like you're doing like medicine, like, I don't know, you're doing something that needs a degree.
Yeah.
And there's not that many jobs out there now that actually need a degree, because you can just have experience a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I think with me, I would make sure with my children that if they're going to want to do something in life that requires a degree, go for it, I'll back it. But if it doesn't, I'll say, let's look at an apprenticeship, or let's start your way from the bottom. At least like where you're earning money, you're not inheriting debt.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're the age of your friends who have now got their degree, you could be earning double what they're earning because you've got all the experience.
Yeah.
I think, do you know what, a bit of a degree is like, I'm not bashing a degree at all, but I think a lot of it just gives you bragging rights as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a graduate. Yeah, I'm a graduate.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got lucky in it. I was, again, don't follow me, I'm done. But yeah, because I wasn't a child who listened, I wouldn't listen in class. I'd do my own thing, whatever the exam results is, whatever. Let's hope my mom's kind of proud, innit? And I think because I was like that, they kind of just came as a plea. They're like, oh, so what do you want to do? And that's when I realized, that I was fundamentally different from Sammy. I was when they were like, we don't know what to do with you. Because I was predicted 2 GCSEs, isn't it? Like, I was predicted, I smashed it. Oh, come on. Let's go. Yeah. But I was predicted 2 GCSEs. So you can imagine, my mom got my predicted grades and I was just like,
what the hell is
this? Yo, like you are doing anything. So I was just like, listen, Don, I know you're trying, innit? What do you want to do? What are we gonna do here? So then I was like, well, I kind of like youth work. I'm doing it in the church, speaking to a lot of young people, like some in gangs, some out of gangs. We used to run the youth club as well, and I was like, it's fun, like, so I was like, I don't just want to work with youth, like, how would I do this with everybody? And then my mom was like, you become a social worker. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, I didn't really know what it was. I was like, I'm gonna be a social worker, and I went through the course of being a social worker, came out on my degree, and I was like, I don't know what a social worker is. So I called around some people that I knew were social workers, and I was like, can I ask you a question? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, does this get better? If I don't know what I'm doing out of university, when I get into the job, will I know what I'm doing or will I not know what I'm doing? Because, like, for example, architecture. You don't just walk into architecture, innit? Like, if you didn't listen in uni, you can't just go and be like, well. Yeah. So I was like, with social work, is it the same? And then someone said to me, to be honest, you learn via experience. The more experience you get, the better you get at your job. And I was like, I'll run with it. And I always had that kind of zeal in it. So I kind of got lucky in that way. It was something that I wanted to do. It was something that I found that I got better with experience. And I just had the passion to learn because I wanted to do it, innit? So that's kind of how I got. And you can't get into social work without a degree. Yeah. Unless you do a master's or something like that. So again, I kind of got lucky, innit? Everything just aligned, innit? So that was lucky for me. But I do kind of think it can be a bit of a finesse because you're really young. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you don't, they act like you're older, if that makes sense. Because
you don't really get that much assistance.
Yeah, because it's independent. And they tell you, oh, you're an adult now because you're over the age of 18. So it gets messy because as an adult, I should be able to take the information and make an informed decision. But you find that many people without the intervention, as you were saying, of your parents and stuff, you can't make that decision. And that's why I kind of think it's a finesse, because you get people who go in and they go, well, I'm going to do this. And they have this kind of like delusions of grandeur of what it's going to be like and how they're going to manage it. And then you realize 2 things. You realize, number one, that it's actually a lot of hard work, and you may not get what you want at the end of it. But also that it's not dependent on anything. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not dependent on your grade sometimes. It can be dependent on who you know. It could be dependent on your network. It could be dependent on how much experience you have. Yeah, so, mad.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And just quickly before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, for anybody who's getting a lot of their fitness advice and stuff from socials, what would you say to those people?
I'd say firstly, I know people will probably disagree with this, but Google is your best friend. And Google's good because there's a lot of professionals and people who are experts in certain fields. So you could search something like, that's crap. You know, if you really think that you can spot reduce fat, for example, just Google, can you spot reduce fat? You'll find some scientist straight away in the first 3 links that will say, nope, this is false, this is a myth. That fitness accounts are trying to sell just to, you know, try and sell some crap product to you, really.
Yeah.
And also, I think ask someone who you know has been in the game for a while. There's a big trend at the moment of, you know, just new fitness trainers coming out and selling programs with no qualifications. Do you know what it is? You can enjoy. I tell people all the time, you can enjoy fitness, be into fitness, but it doesn't mean you need to work in it.
Yeah.
It's like some people are like, oh, because I've got in really good shape and I'm now muscly and I'm now lean, I'm going to start selling programs to people. I'm like, just enjoy it. Like, if I can draw really good, it doesn't mean I want to be an artist. Just enjoy it. It's like leisure.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people out there just finessing people, man. And the best thing you can do is just Google things, man.
Yeah.
Or just read like a fitness book, like an actual fitness book.
Yeah.
Which would just prove that it's all nonsense.
Yeah. I think that, you know what, Google is really good for like hard science, maths, like things with a definitive answer. Google's really good with that. It's opinions and political ideas and stuff, conspiracy theories. That's where Google kind of like, eesh, I don't really know if you're talking the right stuff. But yeah, no, that's a good tip for people. So before we round up, where can people find you?
Instagram is at @ashthecanman. TikTok is @ashthecanman. Don't really use TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm posting it, but I don't know how to do it. I just press post, bro. I'm too old for that kind of stuff, man. And yeah, I've got my website, ashthecanman.co.uk. And I think that's everything.
Cool.
Those are my handles.
Well, thank you for sitting down and talking to us.
Not a problem. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so did I, man. No worries. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been a family.
Bow.